Now I'm going to move on to my next talk, which is honestly, it's focused on exosomes, Dr. Abram. I think I got so excited to talk about exosomes, I just wrote it on exosomes. I didn't even see the PRV part, but we're going to talk about exosomes, and this is a really good talk. I don't even know if you've heard this one, have you? Okay, it's really good. I have to say this talk is good because my hair fellows worked on it with me. You are welcome to take photos of it because exosomes and stem cells are what's hot right now. I mean, PRP has been hot for a while, but honestly, stem cells and exosomes, I bet when we walk into the exhibit hall for the next 4 days, no one will be talking about PRP, right? We've been doing that for quite a while. So I'm going to give you my evidence-based review. I'm an academic. I'm a little bit harsh on, I'm going to say I may be a little bit of a naysayer, just a little bit of a warning, okay? So I have no relevant conflicts. So why have exosomes been hyped to all of us? They're hyped because the hair follicle essentially has stem cells, right? So follicular growth, regeneration, and the ability to maybe use that potential to grow hair has sort of been reinfused, I think, from a marketing standpoint into the field of hair loss. So what do you need to know? Exosomes, you need to stay on top of this. This is an article from Elle magazine, okay? Everything that apparently our patient reading Elle magazine in the airplane needs to know about exosomes. Meanwhile, it's not. I would find this concerning, okay? This is how I broke it down. This is the beginner's guide to understanding exosome. So you can have classic stem cell transplantation in the regenerative world, okay? You can have stem cell-derived conditioned medium, and then you can have stem cell-derived exosomes, okay? And I think the word exosomes is sort of marketed and hot, but this field has been around for a long time, and the things that you're actually seeing in the exhibit hall, a lot of them are actually the second bullet point, okay? So let's go back to the beginning of stem cell transplantation. So if you remember in med school, you can get stem cells from the bone marrow, from the fat, the umbilical cord, or hair follicles from, an unaffected area of scalp disease. I'm focusing here a little on hair, right? There's a whole stem cell cosmetic world, but we're focused on hair in this session. So I did my little academic PubMed search. Okay, stem cell transplantation in this study, autologous bone marrow derived versus a hair follicle stem cell in alopecia areata patients versus androgenetic alopecia patients. One session, they supposedly improved. No hair counts, no tattoos. The hair world gets a little bit, how good was that study, okay? Another one with patient-derived bulge, hair follicle stem cells coming from that patient, from their biopsies. It's mechanically disintegrated, suspended, and then injected, okay, into themselves. And they report a 20% increase in hair density. And I'm like, okay, it came from themselves. It appears that it was helpful. 11 patients. And then how about from fat? Okay, so they cultured from fat in alopecia areata, and they had an improvement in 18 out of 20 patients. Finally, the last stem cell one that I'm going to show you, one injection of autologous dermal sheath cup cells versus placebo with an increased hair density and diameter. So that's sort of my stem cell literature review. But what are the concerns? Why didn't stem cells take off? Why isn't the exhibit hall filled with stem cells? Because we still have this problem that you see in the hem-onc world. Immune rejection, concern for infection, going from one person to another, and then the possibility that these can cause tumorigenesis, okay? So that's why that first bullet point, in my belief, is sort of stuck, okay? So then I figured out there's the stem cell-derived conditioned medium. Now this is where my research fellows are the best, because I'm like, okay, we gotta really make this easy to understand. So a stem cell-derived conditioned medium means that you have a secretome, and the elements secreted by stem cells, such as nucleic acids, extracellular vesicles, and proteins are part of that secretome, okay? And then you take that secretome and you put it in this nutrient-rich medium, and you get to pick what that nutrient-rich medium is. So one company could pick one, and a different company can pick another. So you could take your secretome and then put it in your medium, and then maybe you have a lower risk of tumors, right? Because you're not actually using the whole cell, essentially, okay? So again, the secretome, you take the stem cell, sort of break it down. You have the extracellular vesicles, the exosomes, or even microvesicles, and then you have other things that you can take, the soluble factors, growth factors, chemokines, whatever you want to pick. You put them together, you get this secretome, okay? And secretomes you might find in the literature for hair. These are some of the ones we identified, me and the fellows, okay? Then you take your secretome and you put it in the nutrient-rich medium. Has everyone got it? Okay, we're fine. Okay, because this is kind of hard. So then I do the literature search. So stem cell derived conditioned medium, what we just studied, the secretome, and you put it in the culture. You're going to find in 25 hair loss patients, this secretome that they designed with these growth factors, hepatocyte growth factor, keratinocyte growth factor, platelet derived growth factor, they injected it and they had improved hair growth. This is way back from 2012. That's what I can clearly find on a stem cell derived conditioned medium. And maybe there's more I can't find, but I know there's more in the exhibit hall that I can't find published. But so it's confusing because when you go to the exhibit hall, they might actually have exosomes, but actually be talking about a stem cell derived conditioned medium with exosomes in it. Okay, so so exosomes would be if you actually just purified the exosome, but I don't know why that would be any necessarily better than the derived medium where I get to pick all these other things. But that's where it just gets very confusing how people label their product, what they say on the website, what they're telling you. So finally, my favorite part, what people call exosomes, I would say colloquially. Not approved for patient care, definitely not FDA for hair loss. They actually are extracellular vesicles that are very small. And if you go back to basic science, they are secreted for cell-cell communication. And some companies will tell you, our exosomes are better because we can deliver mRNA, and that's what makes our product better. I don't know if that's true or not. This is what an exosome looks like. You have this wall. You could put DNA, metabolites, you could put RNA, you could put proteins in it, okay? We made this device, Nicole, our primary medical student. So what if you are a hair team? What would you do with your exosome? Where would you get it? You might consider, based on my literature review, getting your exosome from the dermal papilla or the outer root sheath. That's where that regenerative potential is, okay? So then, what's actually out in the literature? So this is my sort of bring it down to like understanding level. You could take a human, take their regenerative exosomes, and inject it into a mouse in the literature. You could take a human, take their fat, inject it into a human in the literature. Or you could take deer, umbilical cord derived exosome, and inject it into a human. Those are the three generally human things I can find currently. And then I go do my little exhibit hall search, and I find this company's telling me ours has trillions, it's sourced from platelets, it's stored at room temperature. The next company will tell you, but ours is billions, it's from mesenchymal stem cells, you have to refrigerate it, and this is why it's better. And then I don't even know which companies these are, and I don't know, but it's not clear to me, the data, it's so rudimentary to be able to market to somebody that maybe in some clinicians' experience it is, but it sure isn't published in PubMed that it is. So I guess I'm not sure. Then I have the FDA. So I do my little check the FDA. 2017, you could see them actually warning clinicians. You can find them sending letters to doctors like and companies, you're unlawfully marketing these. 2019 in Nebraska, there was a series of adverse events. I'll go through that with you. 2021, the FDA starts saying caution. These are FDA, they're not approved. And then 2023, the FDA finally gives an approval. And this is where it gets complicated because the company will tell you they're approved. Given approval, I think that what happened, and this is, I'm not sure, but this COVID approval, right? So one company with very positive intentions gets this COVID approval, an actual IND to investigate exosomes for COVID, not for hair loss, not for cosmetics, okay? And then 2024, the same company getting a warning letter saying, you're operating outside of your investigational new drug application by, marketing your product, okay? So like essentially, even if you're this company with this COVID investigational new drug application, you still can't, you're not supposed to be doing that. So this company receiving its FDA phase 1, phase 2 approval for the human exosomes, which we just talked about. You need an IND, an investigational new drug application to use exosomes in the US. The warnings from the FDA, they claim, have occurred in the United States that exosomes have been blamed, or regenerative medicine, exosomes for tumors, hepatitis B, HIV exposure, blindness, reaction at the injection site, contamination at the site of the manufacturer. And on the CDC website, the patient should request a copy of the IND. If you're being charged for this product outside of a clinical trial, you are likely being deceived. Now, I'm not saying, I can't inject exosomes. I'm in academic institutions. The attorneys would never allow it, and we can't do it without an IND. But doctors do things that are not FDA cleared all the time. So I'm not ethically telling you in any way what you feel would be right or wrong. I'm just telling you what's out there, and if you choose to do it, so you know what's out there, and you should talk to your malpractice carrier. I'm not a lawyer, by the way. A clinician, an academic clinician who knows how to use PubMed and Google. Exosomes, reporting contamination, HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C. I want to point out that benzoyl peroxide recently, quote, contaminated with benzene. Has everyone seen that? And our sunscreens, right? Quote, contaminated with benzene, right? Can you imagine if you inject exosome products that were contaminated at the manufacturer with HIV, hepatitis B, and hepatitis C? I don't think it will go over as well as benzene. It will be much hotter. I don't want my name as any part of that. So there's also a complication in PubMed, 32-year-old woman injected, forehead and retroauricular lymph nodes, hospitalized, pain, needed treatment for anaphylaxis. I did my own literature review. It's accepted to derm surgery. Looking for human studies, I found 2 clinical research studies, one in abstract form. This is just too hard to present. So I broke it down here. Circle number 1, the mouse. From the mouse, you could take it from the dermal papilla, human, or you could take the stem cells, like we said, from human fat or a macrophage and inject it into the mouse. Generally, what I just showed you in that busy slide is in the mouse, you can find increased hair follicle counts in induction, an increase in growth proteins and growth factors, maybe a prolongation of anagen and increased hair growth. That's exciting. That is promising in the mouse model. Exosome therapy and hair regeneration, June 2022. They sort of come to the same conclusion, but I feel that they overemphasize this one human study that I'm able to find. A retrospective study of 39 patients, so not prospective, taking humans' fat and injecting it into another human, but also using a microneedle, okay? So no, it wasn't an injection. It's a microneedle, sorry, it wasn't an injection. It's a microneedle, and then they topically applied the fat, not injecting. Sorry, I misspoke. So the study is muddied by the microneedle, because microneedling may grow hair. So I still have no study showing me that exosomes alone, topically or via injection, can grow hair, because this one study is retrospective, and it actually is human adipose-derived stem cell conditioned media, right? And I just told you that doesn't really fit in just the exosomes category, right? So there's probably more going on in that product. Then I went to their website, and I went to the FDA website, and I'm like, well, what is this? What does this all say for that company? So apparently the human adipocytes are extracted via lipoaspiration, so basically liposuction, and then the FDA says these websites may claim that their registration with the FDA or an FDA inspection equates to an FDA approval or a form of endorsement. So you'll find on there FDA approved on these companies' websites, but I think it may even be a barrier to understanding. Just the fact that you notified the FDA that you exist does not mean that you are FDA approved, okay? So exosomes, I'm almost to the end. So keep in mind, when you pick up these products like this is what I did. This is a picture of one of the labels right there. Water and human fat. So if you choose to use this product on your patient and microneedling it, you are literally microneedling human fat from a different human being. And so you are going to be responsible, right, as the clinician applying a topical for this and what's in it, essentially. And so you are sort of very tied to that manufacturer, right? When you write a prescription for a biologic for psoriasis, are you trusting that it's a TNF-alpha inhibitor and it was manufactured safely? Yes. You are putting that same trust in this person. So if this is not an actual PubMed article, this is I will call it a magazine article. So it didn't even make it into my literature review, only that but you'll find people talk about this on stage. Weekly microneedle injection, I keep saying it, weekly microneedle with topical serum in 10 AGA subjects, 1 alopecia areata, was done outside with deer cord lining. I hope they screened for prions, okay? And the study, it wasn't a real study. The photos were not at par. It wasn't actually a study. I would not consider it a true contribution to the literature, but the fact that I guess the patients are still, there was no big adverse reports reported is good. Finally, I have revisited in my mind, so in countries outside of the US, doing something called micrografting, or essentially taking punch biopsies or micrographs, processing, and extracting regenerative cells from the patient and then injecting it like PRP. We all know PRP, right? But injecting that like PRP, I'm sort of reinterested in that. Countries in South America who can't do PRP do that to get around not being able to use PRP. So I think that this might be safer and have more options, but still is not FDA cleared in the United States. So future studies are needed for this field, content type, the source, the delivery method, how will we treat, how much should we deliver, and the data is very lacking. So I don't want to be a bummer, and I hope you're okay with my exosome talk, but I worked really hard on it. And you could follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you.